Hey, welcome to the Push-Pull Sales and Marketing Podcast. I'm Marcello.
And I'm Sherry. And each episode will provide you with sales and marketing strategies that you can implement immediately into your own business. Today, we're going to be talking about a couple nice ways to get ahead. The nice guys finish last thing is a thing of the past, and you and I are pretty nice, right? We like to think that we're nice people, we're honest people, we're hardworking people, and I think that you don't have to be ruthless in a lot of areas to be able to get ahead, to be able to get great opportunities, to become successful in your industry or switch industries. Marcello is sales manager, he's in sales, but he's not out there lying to people or promising things he can't deliver on. Going about it, a big part of it, I think, which was my first tip, is showing your value, day in, day out. Hopefully, whatever field you're in, you are providing a lot of value. You're providing a lot of value to your customers or to your coworkers or to the boss. They're recognizing that you're working hard, that what you're doing is worthwhile. Being nice doesn't mean that you have to be quiet or take a step back or not be working hard. Of course, if you want to get ahead, you're going to have to work hard, but working hard doesn't have to be being a jerk to everybody.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can, it's about finding the right balance. I mean, it's just like when you have a conversation, one person doesn't do all the talking in any sort of sales interaction, same thing. The people that are the biggest, shameless self-promoters, that's not necessarily the best way to go about doing it. In the same token, you don't want to be, the quiet workhorse, because one of your biggest problems, and this is from Grant Cardone, is obscurity. So there's actually two ends of the spectrum. I mean, if you only self-promote, and you don't have any sort of value, you're in trouble. And the opposite is a problem too. Right. Is if you're such a shameless
or too humble about it. Like, I found myself in that situation where you just put your head to the ground and you're working, but then
isn't it like
people aren't
chin to your chest?
Yeah, people aren't automatically acknowledging what you're doing. Sometimes you do need to put it in front of them and show, like, this is what I've been doing, this is why it's been helpful, this is how I've proved myself. And like you said, it's that the two sides of the same coin, trying to find that middle ground. And I think a lot of people get caught in the self-promotion, especially if they're starting out in a new field or starting a new business. It's tempting, and a lot of times you're told to go after the people that you already know. So, you need to start selling or promoting or getting your stuff in front of your friends, your family, your current audience, whoever that may be. But go ahead.
What I was going to say, I mean, that's when you go after that right away. It reminds me a lot of the book there. It's called Winning by Jack Welch. And this is more toward HR, but it does apply toward selling yourself and selling other products. For example, if you go right off the bat and say, hey, I want to take off Tuesdays and Fridays, and you're just starting with the company, they're going to say you're crazy. But if someone has proven themselves and say, hey, they get the job done, they can work from home. If you build up credits, I mean, they're not visible credits. Not someone's like keeping track, like, oh, they did this project in time. It's pretty much the same thing when you're showing value. You're just putting in credits. You're just making deposits in the bank of trust or a value. One thing to keep in mind: everything you're doing in terms of showing value, nothing is neutral. That is one of my favorite quotes. That's by Brian Tracy. Nothing is neutral. Things are going to move you closer, or it's going to move you farther away from your goal and moving ahead. So if you're pretty much
you're
everyone
not a believer of, like, it couldn't hurt.
What do you mean? it couldn't hurt to miss something or something like that?
Just like, the kind of like try it couldn't hurt to try it. I feel like either it's a hit or a miss.
Well, I'll give you an example, like in terms of showing value and stuff like that. And this is one thing I'm fairly insistent on of my salespeople every week. I say you have to send 10 thank you cards. You have to talk to new people. In that case, well, I forgot that you don't know maybe if it's a close competition between you and someone else, what it's actually going to take to get the business. So in terms of moving ahead, that's kind of what I believe in. Same thing we're talking about moving ahead in your own business, and if you work for someone else, you're still in your own business. So if you're an art person, you're the marketing person, you're still in business for yourself. You're producing revenue, in this case, your salary, and you have expenses and everything like that. And you do want to accumulate money and save that over time. But in terms of showing value and stuff like that, it's interesting because you said, it couldn't hurt. I do believe a okay plan executed really like aggressively is going to be better than like the best well thought out plan that's not executed at all. Or like very mildly. So it's all about balance.
And especially in the marketing realm, and this kind of goes back to the self-promotion kind of thing. You don't want to just be pushing it. A lot of times you do want the growth to be organic. You want your marketing reach to be organic. You want people to be able to come to you, because the people that are coming to you organically are not feeling obligated. They're genuinely interested in what you have to offer. Whether that's a service, whether that's a blog, whether that's a physical product. Hopefully the people that are supporting you are not supporting you because they're just friends and family that they feel like they need to support you, that they're genuinely interested in what you're offering.
So does that transition into the next number 2?
That was number 2.
That was number 2?
Don't beg.
Okay.
Don't beg.
Go ahead. Would you pay for something that was worth less than what you were paying it if I gave you a sob story?
What do you mean less?
So let's say I'm selling you something for $10, but you know it's worth $2.
But if you give me a sob story, would I still pay 10?
Yeah.
Do I know you?
Doesn't matter.
I think it would matter.
It would matter. I would say no.
If it was a relative giving me a sob story, it might matter. And depending what it is and what the cause was, and I feel like the difference between 2 and 10 is very different than like 20 and 50.
Okay. So you have your threshold with that.
I don't know. It's hard to know without knowing the particulars of the situation. And it'd have to be a really good sob story too, because I feel like that's a risky sales move to give a sob story, because
if I was selling like $10
people
like bars
assume that you're
$10 bars of Ivory, and I told you like I was down on my luck, I lost my job and stuff like that, and I was like a cousin or something like that.
I don't like those kind of sob stories.
Or how about like if I was selling like nail stickers
things
or something.
things that do work for people is stuff a brand, putting a face to the brand, having a story behind the brand. It's why like Etsy and stuff does so well, because people see the people who are making these products, they know their story, they care about these people, but these people aren't saying, buy my scarves because,
I'm dying.
Well, that's a little extreme, but, buy my scarves because this, that, or the other thing, I lost my job or whatever. It's more about, here's who I am, here's what I love to do, and you feel like you're supporting a real person. I think that's different, and and
you're bringing value in and of itself if you feel like you are supporting that person.
That's a big difference.
You get like a good feeling if you just feel like, eh.
Yeah, I think that's a big difference too. It has to be a very strong product in the first place. Mm-hmm. You can't rely on sales tactics if you're not delivering a great product. And I think the sob story stuff goes a little bit into number 3, which is like pursue opportunities. You don't have to be brutal or mean to pursue other opportunities. And a lot of times opportunities are presenting themselves when you're nice to people, when you're helping other people out. They're very happy to reciprocate, which we've talked a lot about on this podcast. Marcel has talked a lot about that if you give someone something as small as a mint, they're happy to give you a better tip. So those...
If I buy you a Coke, you're going to buy $100 ticket. I mean, these are real life examples.
Yeah.
So,
and it's not, and this is a little bit also, do you stay quiet or do you put yourself out there? You're always going to want to put yourself out there. You're always going to say yes to any opportunity that you think might be a good fit. Go for the opportunities that you don't think you're quite qualified for. Because if someone's asking you to do that for them, they believe that you're qualified for it. Don't change their mind. Like, I feel like a lot of people second guess themselves and feel like they're not qualified for something. But if someone's telling you, I want you for this, just trust them and figure it out as you go. That's what we're all doing. We're not podcasting because we're professional podcasters. We're figuring it out as we go because we want to, because it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to share it with you guys. It's an opportunity for us to learn ourselves. I
mean, you're going to have your own limiting thoughts and limiting ideas. I mean, it's the start that stops most people. So in terms of an opportunity, if it's there, take it. If you're dealt with a certain type of client, it's always been your goal to get to this client, and maybe higher level sales or volume or something like that. You have to go for it. If you wait till all the conditions are right, it's never going to happen. And that's kind of the way how things are in life. Are we at the midway point?
Almost, but
Okay.
I guess the thing about that too is you can say no to opportunities that aren't going to further, get you closer to the end goal.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
Don't take things that might be good today, but inhibit stuff tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, that for me, that happens all the time. I mean, because I have my own sales stuff. I have my own, personal business. And aside from being a salesperson, I'm also really, really ridiculously good looking. So there are some modeling opportunities and stuff like that. I do want to start a political career where it's for stuff that... Yeah, it pays good money, but it's for something that I'm against or might be used against me, or if it might even be questionable.
The Joey from Friends scenario where he was the gonorrhea model or chlamydia model.
Yeah, like for $10,000 right now sounds pretty good, but if I'm running to be a senator or something like that, and people remember, were you the gonorrhea senator? Were you the HIV medicine and stuff like that?
All of a sudden, that $10,000 is not worth it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something too. It's about consistency in brand, consistency in service that you deliver, and consistency in who you are and what is going to make sense. I mean, there are stretches too where, if in your own business too, where you might say, well, that's not really my thing, and it doesn't even match, but it's a lot of money. Mm-hmm. If it's not really at the heart of what you're really stand for, client's not going to be happy. You're talking about stretching to stuff that makes sense for you versus maybe reaching for something that is in left field or something like that.
Yeah. I was just going to say along those same lines of making sure that you're talking about and promoting yourself in an honest way, who you really are, who you want to be in the future. That's of course then you're keeping tabs on social media and what you put out there. What song?
I know I can be what I want to be. Whatever happened to Nas anyway?
I don't know.
He didn't promote himself enough.
Maybe that was it.
He went both ways. He promoted himself too much, and then he dropped off the face of the earth. He didn't
Maybe
have
that
balance.
was it.
Yeah.
On social media, you don't want to be the angry person on social media that's always ranting. You want to be nice. You want to be nice to other people. I think I was going to get to that a little bit later on. All right, I'll loop back to that. Hold that thought.
Okay.
But in the meantime, If you like what you're hearing so far, please subscribe and rate us on iTunes. This helps us out a lot, and it helps new people find our podcast. If you have any feedback or suggestions for future topics or any questions, you can tweet us at pushpullsales, or you can email us at
pushpullsales@gmail.com. Can they also subscribe or whatever on like Stitcher or something like that? There are other ways, like not only iTunes, right?
Yeah, anywhere you can get podcast stuff, I think you should be able to get stuff.
And share.
I'm an iTunes Apple girl, so
Okay.
everything else doesn't exist to me. Yep, you can share us, and you can view our show notes on our website, which is pushpullsales.com. If we ever reference anything like books or videos or anything like that, we'll make sure that we link those in the show notes.
Yeah, you're talking about like don't be that negative person on social media and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, just the other day, and I for the local political party that I help monitor the website and stuff like that. Someone had a question, and the candidates actually agreed with the person's stance. We were very polite in responding back and say, hey, you know what? You should check out the candidate's website. Here's their phone number. Here's their email. Message them, because I mean they're two different candidates. They might have different opinions.
Right.
And one candidate, got back right away, and the person shared that and he said, "Oh, typical response, blah blah blah." And it was my response to check out the candidate's website. And when I tried to post on that person's thing, they blocked it. That said, hey, the candidate responded within, 4 hours of your thing. There's
Right.
two separate candidates. One said that they agreed. The other one got back to you privately. What do you mean in typical fashion? So there's some people that are, no matter what, they're going to be negative.
They're going to be negative no matter what. But as far as what you're putting out there, be the person that is liking other people's social media posts. Be the person that's writing happy birthday on everybody's walls when it's their birthday. That's Marcello. Every day he tells people happy birthday that show up on his Facebook feed.
And if you don't have like a wall post, I will like send you the messenger thing. And if you don't have the messenger thing, you're still going to get it anyway. And eventually when you do download Facebook Messenger and it has all your personal information, you give it all up, you're going to have like 20 things that actually say happy birthday. So that way I'm not randomly messing. And that happened the other day too. Someone's like, hey, how's it going? How's the family? Oh, my job is to give away these free things. Oh, really? Because I think your thing says sells insurance.
I know.
And if you were to look at my profile, you see I still
so
have my insurance
often.
license.
And you know that it's coming. It's like, hey, how are the kids? I haven't talked to you in a while, blah, blah, blah. And then they don't even wait. Then the next thing that they enter is, I'm having this, that, or the other thing. Want to buy it? I'm like, no.
Yeah, you don't want to have a hidden agenda. I mean,
it's not so so apparent so quickly.
Yeah, you don't.
So like, don't even bother. Like,
you don't want to have any. You don't have any sort of agenda. I would prefer you just
get to the point.
Yeah.
Instead of pretending like you're interested in my kids. But yeah, so like, congratulate people on accomplishments. If anything, if you see something, and I do this a lot, where like, if I see
like photos on Instagram, is that like your morning routine?
Yeah,
like
Instagram.
I think you did a blog post on that.
I did, but if you see something that would be a good fit for somebody, like a lot of times, especially in the writing world, like freelance writing, I might see something come up that here's an opportunity. They're looking for a specific piece. I'm not a great fit for that piece, but I know someone who is. I will happily send that information along.
I'm looking at your website too about opportunities. You have featured on and talking about good fits. Huffington Post, Mom's Magazine, Nick Mom, Scary Mommy. You were, for the company website, for my company, you were listed as one of the top logistics blogs, something in like inbound logistics and stuff like that. That does not match your current brand right now, so that you don't have that listed there. Because if I were going on your blog and I see featured on the Huffington Post, Mom's Magazine, inbound logistics bit, what?
Yeah. It's about the branding, which becomes a little bit tricky as a writer, where do different things fit in, because what shows up on momshare.com is not what shows up on Push Pull Sales or the other marketing stuff that I do, or the blogging I do for different companies. But yeah, basically being nice is going to keep you in the forefront of other people's minds. So if an opportunity ever comes up where they can help you back, or where you might be a really good fit for it, they're going to think of you. They're going to help you get that, connect you with someone who might be able to help you or get you a different job or a promotion. So, be nice. But one of the other really big things is to be reliable, communicate well, meet deadlines, show up to meetings on time, give people realistic estimates, whether it's time, I can get that back to you in XYZ, or whether it's, pricing stuff, make sure you're really realistic about it, be honest about what you're capable of, what you can deliver, and refer them to someone else if you need to.
And there are whole day seminars on just accountability and stuff like that, and it was amazing. We had a seminar for my company. A couple other people from other businesses were there too, and they said, if someone was totally accountable, or if your business was 100% accountable, what would that mean for your business, and how would you describe it in one word? And people are like, unstoppable, unbelievable, blah blah blah. And accountability, and reliability. That's very good that you mentioned about meeting deadlines. You have to set that internally in your own company. We can do our own. We can do just a podcast on that, on accountability. What sort of tools you can use? Because a lot of times when there are issues, and I'm going off on a little bit of tangent, is kind of what I do. In terms of just communicating stuff like that. So if someone says, "Hey, can you get this price to me by Tuesday?" Clarify, say, okay, Tuesday end of day, and then maybe Tuesday they'll tell you, hey, 12 o'clock, I need this, I have a meeting with this guy at 2.
Right.
Your price, I need to bundle
Tuesday,
in mine.
He means by Tuesday, but in your mind you think end of day Tuesday. It could really tick people off. And I know, that's something that really bothers me. If I have an expectation of when I think something will be getting to me, if I'm waiting on correspondence or information, or it frustrates me, or him to come home. Yeah, I'm like, be realistic. Because as soon as you tell me one thing, that's how I'm planning my life around that thing. It's getting put into the to-do list. It's getting put in the calendar that's what's happening, and that's when it's happening. And on the flip side, you want people to be able to count on you. You want them to enjoy working with you. You want them to know what to expect from you. Because a lot of times, how often we could be stewing at somebody, and all they finally send an email and say, I'm so sorry, this, that, or the other thing happened. I will, follow up with you, da-da-da-da-da. All of a sudden, all's forgiven. That's all you wanted, was just to know what was going on.
Surprises is not good.
Surprises are not good.
In those situations, for the most part. If someone wants to be pleasantly surprised, you do something nice for them, a gift or something like that, or a small token. But in terms of
business, surprises aren't.
Yeah, it's better to be upfront and get that. And backtracking too, you talked about.
You can always deliver a little bit earlier too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But in terms of building value and stuff like that, you're going to put in credits, tokens, so people are going to know you as more reliable. The more things you do on time, that way, if something does happen, something does get in the way, you're going to have a better reputation. But you need to put in the work first. I was talking with Sherry about this the other day. For the most part, in all this, in terms of ways to get ahead, in the very beginning, and for most of your life, you're going to be underpaid. You're going to provide way, way more value than what you're getting out, and it's much better to be that way. When you get older, or when you put in a lot of time, it's going to be the opposite. You're not going to provide as much value, and you're going to be overpaid, and that's okay.
Out a little bit,
and it balances out. And then as you get even older, it kind of flows into the whole swing of things. But it's much, much better on business and as a customer, and you always want to do that. Basically, the sum of all the ingredients, the services, the products, everything you do should be worth more than what you're being paid. And if you can provide more value than what you're being paid, whether that's as an individual or what you're selling the product for, you're going to be all right. And just keep repeating that. And that's really all business is. You take all the ingredients. The ingredients equal more than what the individual parts do, and people are going to see value in that, and there's certain steps, and we have different podcasts about that.
Help you keep your job. That's going to help you get promoted, because if you're performing at a higher value than what they're paying you, then they might be able to bump you up to a higher pay scale. And you're still, it's just, it makes sense for them.
People have a conversation and say, well, this person brought in $30,000 worth
Well, in your industry, it's very, very clear. A lot of industries, it's not quite as clear as in sales, where you can see on paper the amount of money you're bringing into the company and the amount of money that you're taking out of the company.
Is that why you're a marketer? It's easier that way? Because you can say,
well, no one can prove
100 people looked at it. Nobody bought yet.
Well, that is one of the hard things about digital marketing, is that everything can be measured, and people get really frustrated with the numbers. But the fact of the matter is, conversion rates are always low. They have always been low.
Sales and marketing are two different things. Like Coke.
I'm just saying,
Coke advertises
but I'm saying,
crazy.
for marketing, nobody knew before. Nobody knew down to the person what the stats were for a marketing campaign until
recently, someone clicked on it and they bought it and all that stuff.
Yeah, as far as a billboard or a magazine ad or something, they had an idea of how many people saw it and how many people then bought, but to be able to see down to the click.
Well, even so, it might not even fully match up too, because I might see an ad for something one day on my...
I never buy something on the first click.
On my phone, and then on my computer, I go right and I bought it. That ad might have been the reason why I actually went and bought that thing, but in terms of tracking it, they're not going to say, oh, it's because this ad was on this site, so it's it is fairly interesting. So what was today's topic?
How to get ahead without being mean.
Yeah,
and being nice.
And that's something we'll cover in a different podcast. We talked about it briefly, sharp bargaining tactics, cheesy sales techniques, like, hey, I need you to give me a call. It's really important. And that's something I've actually gotten arguments with the owner of my company and say, hey, I want you to leave this message. I'm like, look, tell me what you want done, what you want the end result to be. But don't put a tactic on me that I'm not going to be comfortable with. So say, hey, it's very important. I need you to call me back, and say, well, no, that's not really the reason for my call.
No, that would make me so mad.
The reason for my call is I want to cross-sell different opportunities. So, in that case, and we talked about cold calling, so that these are existing customers, and basically say, hey, when you get a chance, nothing urgent, give me a call back. I have a couple ideas I want to bounce off of you. I don't think we ever talked about this before. And it was cross-selling a different product or service. If I said, give me a call back, it's very important, and say, hey, thank you so much. I have this for you.
No.
That's only going to work one time.
No, they're never going to respond to your calls again.
And then same thing too. Give me a call back.
Boy who cried wolf.
Yeah, give me a call back. It's very important. My phone number is, the call is about, and then people intentionally hang up. Yeah. And then, that works one time.
I know.
You don't want to do that. You don't want to use sharp bargaining tactics where you're, nibbling and stuff like that. So, hey, just one more thing. And same thing with a customer too. And that's part of the problem with a lot of industries where you get agreement on that and then say, it is $50 for that each,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But we'll get into that in another one.
We can talk about 5 ways how to not get ahead.
5 ways to be a jerk. But I think that wraps everything up for the week. Thank you to bensound.com for our intro and outro music, and thanks to you guys for listening. You can tune in next time where we'll tackle another topic, and if you have any questions or feedback on today's episode, head to pushpullsales.com or tweet us at pushpullsales, and we'd love to chat with you. Have a good rest of your week.
See ya.